Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I have got for you some samples that was kindly sent to me by Tony from the channel Fragdicted. Thank you so much, Tony. Tony did a live stream on his first impressions of these fragrances here, and he put that one on his Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's still there, so go and have a look. I will link his Instagram and YouTube in the description below. But let's get on with the fragrances. So today it's Ostens. They are I think they're French. I think they're a French brand. And I recently tried one of their fragrances. So I took part in a giveaway and I didn't win the main prize. It was on Instagram, but I did win a sample of their rose fragrance and I was really impressed with it. So we're going to get back to that in just a moment. I'm going to talk you through all of the fragrances. So the sample set looks like a little sort of stack of books, like old-fashioned kind of books, which I really like. I think it looks really nice. I love the individual samples, which I will show you one now. So they all have sort of a multicolored design all over them, and then they open out into a three-way. Comment below if you like a three-way, and the notes are listed in there, as well as a little bit more information about the fragrance in general. So I'm not going to read everything about all of them because it's going to take too long. So we are just going to stick with the smells, which is the main thing. So we might as well start with this one now, which is Patchouli Heart number 1. And I'm trying to think, yeah, I know which one this one is. So I've already sprayed them. I sprayed them about an hour ago because I wanted to give you a little bit more than just the initial spray. So these were sprayed, as I say, about an hour ago. I sprayed them on a ripped up envelope, so you know, feel free to judge me about that. Just sat there and ripped up an envelope. So patch number 1, I've called it patch 1. It's actually Patchouli Heart number 1. And the notes are pink pepper, incense, accord, licorice, rosemary, lavender absolute, immortelle absolute, patchouli heart LMR, sister labdanum absolute, and amber. So patchouli heart number 1. This is one that I didn't really like. It smells a bit fougere-ish to me. Has like a classic masculine feel. It made me think of Mr. Smelly's Gravitas a little bit, because I guess it is kind of heavy with the patchouli, which I found Gravitas to be. A very classic kind of patchouli, aromatic. Would I say it's fresh? It's herby. I wouldn't say it's fresh. It doesn't smell citrusy fresh or shower gel fresh or ocean oxygen kind of fresh. No, but it's also not heavy. It's one of those probably any season type fragrance. So it's to me, it smells like woods. It smells like it smells like patchouli, but it's not particularly dirty or earthy. It's a very much a middle of the road kind of patchouli, if that makes sense. Nothing really sweet in here, or there is an amber accord, but I'm not picking it up at the moment. As I say, I sprayed that about an hour ago. I don't really get the licorice. I get more, I think the lavender I do get. I definitely get the patchouli. It does smell a bit incensey and woodsy. Immortelle I don't really pick up on either. Immortelle is, to me, Immortelle can smell like a little bit like maple syrup, but also a little bit like a curry leaf, or like a savoury, almost cumin or curry like facet to it. I sometimes struggle with Immortelle. I like the sweeter side of it, the maple syrup side. I don't enjoy the curry like aspect to it, but I'm not really picking that up in here. So mostly it's kind of like a woodsy, aromatic, sort of, not exactly fougere, because it doesn't smell like that really smooth fern like kind of fougere thing, but It does smell very much like a classic man's fragrance, the sort of thing my dad would have worn back in the 90s. And that's not a bad thing. It's very nice. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my style. So that's Patchouli Heart number 1. I should have told you who the perfumer was. Here we go. It's Domitel Michelin Berthier. So that is the perfumer for Patchouli Heart number 1. And we'll pop that over there. Let's pick out another one. I think I might do these in order actually, and I'll save my favourite. There's 3 that I really like, so I'm saving those 3 till last. Let's do the next one, which is the cedar one. It's Impression Cedarwood Heart. Perfumer is Alexis Dadier. We've got notes of bergamot, cardamom, violet leaf, galbanum, ylang ylang, orris concrete, so that's a very nice expensive ingredient, iris root, patchouli, ambergris, moss and cedarwood heart. Virginia, so Virginian cedarwood. So I have this one sprayed on here, and I don't enjoy this one. I mean, I don't dislike it, but I think it's probably, when I first sprayed it, I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was, but I think it's a violet leaf. Violet leaf is a green, almost fiery hot green yet violetty smell. And it can also come across as somewhat aquatic in nature. It's a very unusual material and I haven't always loved it, although I love it in Fahrenheit. So I'm going to respray in here just to get those top notes. So what's great about this card is it's not laminated or shiny. It's the perfect material if you want to spray the fragrance straight into the sample. I like that. It's nice and absorbent, so it's perfect for that. Yes, so you can really smell the violet leaf in the opening. It's kind of green and fresh and quite vibrant. And you can smell the violet side of the violet leaf as well. What else do I get? I would never pick up on the bergamot. It doesn't really smell citrusy. It does smell kind of fresh though, because I think of the violet. And I'm guessing the galbanum working in here to give it more of a green edge again, and then a kind of a slight dryness. So you've got a combination of dry and moist really with the violet leaf and the galbanum. And the dry down, to me, is a little bit nondescript. It's quite light on this. To be fair, I did one tiny little spray, so it is quite light on here. I'm not talking about performance here because it's not fair. I can't, because I haven't worn them all. It's quite like a dry, I mean, it is cedar and it is woody. It's a dry, clean, woody, slightly green scent. And you've got moss, which would add to the greenery. And there's a bit of patchouli in here, which I think just grounds it. It's not really noticeable to me. So, I mean, when I look at these materials, there's only 2 that I really love, and that's the orris and the ylang ylang. Everything else is not really my style. It's very green, which is just not my thing really. So, but the opening actually, that violet leaf is actually quite nice. It is quite yummy, and it's a bit like the violet leaf in Fahrenheit actually. So I'd say I quite enjoy the violet leaf in there, despite the fact that violet leaf is not always my cup of tea, but I think it's really nice in there actually. But the dry down, just so-so. Next up then, we are going to do, so this one here, it's called Cashmeran, Impression Cashmeran Velvet, and it's by Sophie Labbe, with notes of amaryllis, oil labanum, cashmeran velvet, cedarwood oil, sandalwood oil, orris accord, vanilla bean extract, patchouli heart and musks. When I first heard about this one, now the first person I think I saw talk about this company was Matt from Question Incence. He did a nice little video, an overview and just a general kind of first impressions type video. I will link that below as well. I'm going to spray the top notes into here, and then I'll go and get the dry down. So yeah, this is kind of like it's a very woody. It's woody, it's earthy, it's, is it a bit fruity? I think oil banum I don't always enjoy. I've smelt a few fragrances where that's a dominant note and it's not for me. I think it's a resin. It's a concoction of, to me it smells like a concoction of different woods and resins. Nothing really sweet at the moment, so I don't get the vanilla. I get the sandalwood, but it's that dry, like powdery, not quite, like sandalwood has been chipped, yeah, like or sanded, so it's like sawdust, sandalwood sawdust, so it's got that texture, that dry texture, so it's not a creamy sandalwood, it's not it doesn't go gourmand at all. It's a nice sort of like mixture of different woods and different textures. That's the opening. Now let me find, no, it's this one, and it sort of a little tiny bit reminds me of Santal 33, just a little bit. So for me it's like a dry sandalwood type scent. But I don't know what Cashmeran smells like. I haven't smelt it isolated, and I haven't ever smelt enough fragrances to with it in to be able to pick it out. So I'm no expert on Cashmeran. But for me, I'd love a lot more vanilla in here. I just can't get any. Maybe it would come out on the skin in time, but for me this is much more about the woods. The orris, I think, I don't really pick it out, but it's potentially just blending in with the woods. The whole feels quite dry, and I tend not to really go towards dry fragrances. So that's that one. That is Cashmeran Velvet. And now we're going to move on to my 3 favourites, and let's see if I can put these in order. Yeah, okay, the last 2, I really don't know what my favourite out of the last 2 is, so we'll go with this one then. So number 3, this is Impression Patchouli Heart number 2. So I'm going to respray into the card now just to get the opening notes. Now I found that I preferred this once it had a little time to dry down. And the opening, oh, it is nice actually. It's fresh, yeah. Okay, let's give you the perfumer. It's Sophie Labbe again, and we've got cypress, ginger, black pepper, violet leaf, iris resinoid, patchouli, cypriol heart, ambroxan, cashmeran, sister absolute, and musks. So this one is, so I didn't enjoy the first patchouli, patchouli heart number 1. This is a completely different fragrance, like worlds apart. This has a bit more of a gourmand touch, a little bit sweeter. It's got more zing and zest. It's more fun. It's got a little freshness. You've got black pepper and ginger, and I think that gives it this lift. And then the black pepper's lovely. Black pepper sort of combining with a woodsy type note. It's really nice. And the patchouli in here goes like almost like a chocolatey kind of patchouli, and it actually, on the paper earlier, it reminded me a little bit of 160 Tuesdays Sexiest Scent on the Planet, which is a really gorgeous vanilla, what is it, it's vanilla and Isoe Super, and I know it's got bergamot in the top, but that's not the bit that I'm thinking of. It's just more the dry down. It's like it's a lovely kind of woodsy, slightly peppery vanilla type scent, but very smooth and almost chocolatey again. So this feels like almost like like a milk chocolate a little bit, but with like a dry and peppery nature to it. And I like that one. I like that one a lot. And then I've actually got that on my skin. Yeah, and it's got like a smooth milk chocolate, or almost cocoa powder as well. So like the smoothness of melted chocolate, but then with like a sprinkle of cocoa powder at the same time. But it's not really sweet. It's not literal when I say chocolate. It's just evoking that to a degree. So I like that one. That's really nice. So that one's Patchouli Heart number 2. And then I have to choose what's my favourite from the last 2. Oh, I really don't know. So I'm just going to tell you about the rose one to start with. So this was the one that I tried before. And can I put it on my skin? I'll just pop it on my skin as well. Yeah, there we go. So rose, oh, it's so nice. It's fruity and also kind of fresh, and also reminds me a little tiny bit of Turkish Delight. So this one's by Dominic Ropion. He is a master, and I think he is a master with his use of rose. He's really great. He's great with florals actually. Dominic Ropion, I mean, well, Portrait of a Lady, come on. But I mean, yeah, he's great with everything. I've got Irish Shot by him from Olfactive Studios. Absolutely love that too. I do think he really is a genius, Dominic Ropion. If you like Portrait of a Lady, I think you'll like this. It's not to say it's the same, but it's in that ballpark. In that the rose is really quite dominant. And I think there's probably geranium, is there? And they might not mention it, but it feels like there might be some geranium, which will help bring out the rosiness. So we've got rosemary, coriander, cardamom, pink pepper. Yeah, so of course it's very spicy and peppery. You've got black currant bud absolute, orange flower absolute, rose essential, rose Isparta, patchouli labdanum, and Cashmeran. Well, ultimately, I think it's a very fresh, I feel like there's a bit of lemon or something. That's not listed. It's a very fresh rose, yet has a sweetness and a slight fruitiness at the same time. And it's peppery and spicy. Maybe the fruitiness that might come from the black currant bud. It's really beautiful. A lot of clarity here. How do I explain it? These last two, the florals of the pack, the 2 florals, both have a gorgeous clarity around the floral notes. They feel unmuddied by anything. So sometimes fragrances to me sometimes feels like the ingredients step on each other's toes. Some fragrances, it feels almost like the water's been slightly muddied by some of the other ingredients. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. But to me, like the 2 florals, the jasmine one, which I'm going to come to, and this rose one, the ingredients sing. They do blend together, but they also sing. Imagine a choir where, yes, okay, they're very harmonised and they all sing lovely together, but if you pay attention you can see each individual person has their own voice and their own clarity to their voice. Does that make sense? And I get that with this one and the jasmine. I just feel like the ingredients really sing and they don't step on each other's toes. Nothing is muddied, and but yet all still blended lovely. Nothing also sticks out. So yeah, essentially it's a spicy, fruity rose. A little on the dry side. It's not completely dry. So it's almost like a combination of moist and dry in the same composition. Really, really nice. Absolutely amazed by the quality of that one. So that one is Rose Oil Isparta. And finally then we're going to talk about the Jasmine, and this one is on my skin, and this one is gorgeous. Notes are gardenia, black pepper oil, violet leaves, jasmine from Egypt, jasmine absolute from Egypt, davana oil, ylang ylang, lavender absolute, vanilla woods, soft musk, sandalwood, mineral accord, and peach. And this is by perfumer Bruno Jovanovic. Correct me if I'm wrong. He has worked for Frederic Malle. I can't remember what ones he's signed now, but very much a well-loved and respected perfumer. And we're going to spray in here. I think the what are they called? Painkillers are confusing me a little bit, so I'm sorry, I'm not quite myself. I've only had one. I could, you know, potentially I could have two if I want, but I don't do painkillers very well, and I feel slightly, I'm not myself, so I'm sorry that the what's the word, energy level here is a little low. I guess that's to be expected at the moment, but I'm still enjoying perfume. In fact, I'm absolutely burying my head in perfume at the moment. Right then, so when I first sprayed this, I thought I smelled tuberose, and I don't normally like tuberose, but I can sometimes mix up gardenia and tuberose because they're kind of like fatty, waxy, loud, exotic white florals. And yeah, this one did remind me of tuberose at first, and then it does sort of gently transition on the skin. There are slightly green nuances to it, not in any really obvious way, but it's just like there's a touch of greenery to the floral. To me, this smells like a pure floral fragrance, and when it dries down on the skin, it does smell like the most beautiful natural jasmine, just diffused in the air. Maybe the tiniest hint of musk and just a nuance of green to it, but mostly it's just pure, absolute, unadulterated, gorgeous, natural smelling white flower. All these other notes I don't really pick up on, and I don't need to. This, honestly, I mean, if you look at these notes, you think you're going to smell something different to what you actually smell, or certainly from my point of view, I just smell, and on skin, so much better as well. I just smell the purest white floral, diffused in the air, so not too heady, it's not cloying, it's not thick, it's just gorgeously diffused in the air, and maybe the merest hint of white musk, but not really, you know, not that anyone else would really notice, but if you really study it, maybe just backing it up a little bit, and a tiny hint of something green, like just a one or two stems, but mostly it's floral, and it's very, very translucent, not weak by any means, but it isn't thick and it isn't heavy, and it feels very, very natural. And that's my impressions. I don't really pick up, as I say, like there's pepper, there's violet leaves, ylang, I don't get ylang ylang, lavandin I'm assuming is from lavender, vanilla, woods, soft musk, just beautiful natural white flower, you know, mostly it is a jasmine, but to start with, I think it's more gardenia, and it kind of like transitions to more of a jasmine type scent. And that really is it for this fragrance, but it is so clear, it's so natural, and I really, really like it. So actually, yes, this jasmine one is my favourite of the bunch, and yeah, really, really enjoy it. So That's my first impression. Sorry that was 25 minutes long. I just can't help myself sometimes yabbering on. I've now completely destroyed the sample set, but the sample set is on the Ostens website. It's £30 for the whole thing. I think they include shipping with that. And at the moment, if you do end up buying a bottle, you get the £30 off of the bottle. The bottles are quite pricey, £175 I think ish. I'm not sure if there's slightly different prices on the different fragrances, but about £175 for 50ml. I do think that's a little bit too much. I think they are very nice though. The Jasmine one I really like. Would I pay that for it? I'm not sure I love it quite that much, but I do think it's beautiful and I think they're worth trying. If you are sick of all these modern niche houses that are stuffing their fragrances full of ambroxan and isoe super, then this might be a breath of fresh air for you, and I would urge you to give it a go. And I think that's really it. Well, I'd just like to say thank you so much to Marium, Emily and Madeleine. Thank you so much for buying me a coffee on coffee.com or Ko-fi or whatever it's called. But thank you so much. It was quite a while ago now, but obviously I've had quite a lot going on, but I just wanted to say thank you. I like to say thank you in my videos if I can. So thank you so much for that. Mwah.